when we talk about emotional intelligence, the first thing that comes to our mind is what exactly is emotional intelligence? I am sure each and every one of us would be bothered by those questions that, what is emotional intelligence? And especially during these pandemic times that, the pandemic has thrown this challenge to us, and coupled with it is the mystery of emotions. While the world is masked right now, we will have to live with it. We have to accept that fact that we are behind monitors, behind screens, and we will have to guess those emotions sitting across laptops, sitting across screens with each other. So it is best left to our imagination to understand the true emotions behind the mask. And in today's discussion, we'll discuss about what emotional intelligence is in the context of the workplace, define its components, explore its relation to a workplace, and how we can improve it for both individual employees, that is for ourselves, as well as an organization as a whole. So moving ahead on the slide, I would like you all to share your inputs in the chat section, like, which character do you like? So on the screen are two characters. One is an emotional person and one is an emotionally intelligent person. So let's quickly have a chat as to, which person you would prefer, having a co-worker, having a team member, or a colleague, or a boss, or a friend, or someone in the family. So who do you think would be a best fit? So would you like to spend time with an emotional person? Would you like to work and reach your milestones, your goals with an emotionally intelligent person? Let's have that going. So who do you think would be a better choice that you would look forward for working with, an emotional person or an emotionally intelligent person? Okay. So yes, so everybody's got the right answer, and then it's an emotionally intelligent person that we will like to spend our time with. So let's go back. Let's have a flashback or a recap of our lives, of our professional careers, and I would like you to go back into time and recollect whenever there was a time when you said or you did something out of anger for which you regretted later. You probably misread someone's intentions, or the political climate at the workplace, or you found it hard to focus on a task because of the feelings that you were experiencing at that point of time. Just refresh your memories as to, like, one particular incident that you can recollect of, something you said or did in anger, something that you probably misread someone's intention. It was probably for your good, but then you probably misread the other person's intentions, or you found it hard to focus on a task because you were probably feeling low, you were probably feeling very joyful, or probably you were feeling frustrated and lonely. I am sure each one of us must have definitely experienced one or the other feeling at some point or the other. Yes? Okay, so coming to the emotional intelligence tree, you will see this tree is full of emotions, full of feelings. So we all experience some feeling or the other at each point of time, at each point in our life, and feelings are core elements of professional life. We have feelings of moments of joy, we have feelings of passion, we have feelings of sorrow, satisfaction, dissatisfaction, motivation. At times you might be hurt, at times you might be probably uh, uh, looking for somebody to talk to, and things like this. So there are many emotions that come into place. They are core elements of professional life as well as personal life. And let's be honest and accept the fact that employees are not just workers. We are all people, we are all humans. And each individual comes in with a unique personality, a unique set of strengths and weaknesses, a unique set of circumstances. I am sure many of you will resonate with what I am saying. Coming to the definition of emotional intelligence, which is given by Goleman, emotional intelligence is the capacity for recognizing our own feelings and those of others, for motivating ourselves and for managing emotions well in ourselves and in our relationships. So this definition has been provided by Goleman, where he very, very specifically mentions that it is basically about managing emotions, understanding emotions, using emotions, and how we perceive emotions. That is the whole crux of it. I assume, Ankita, we are going well. Any questions or any doubts that anyone has at this point of time?
So far, Meenakshi, I don't see anything in the chat, so it's
Okay,
going
so
good. Yeah.
this is basically about how we are able to manage our emotions. This is how we are able to perceive those emotions, how we are able to relate to these emotions, and how we react to those emotions. And the important part is, why is developing an emotion quotient or emotional intelligence important at the workplace? It is of much importance, primarily because of factors like, it is linked to higher job satisfaction. It is also associated with your job performance. So we just did a chat in the first slide, like, who would you like to work with, or who would you prefer having around with you? So everyone felt that it was an emotionally strong person that you would normally around to hang around with. So that is the reason it is very important in the workplace, and these are the two primary reasons where it is important. Research indicates that emotional intelligence actually accounts for up to 80% of an individual's success in life and work. So yes, IQ is important, but even emotional intelligence is important, and research has proved it all the way. We will now quickly go through what the components are of emotional intelligence. So emotional intelligence basically comprises of two components. One is a personal competence, and the other is a social competence. So when I say personal competence is I, me, myself. So it is being self-aware, and it is more self-management. So when I say self-aware, it is how tuned are you with your own emotions? Are you aware when you are getting happy, when you are getting sad, when you are getting pissed off, when you feel dejected or sad? How aware are you with your emotions? Self management is your ability to regulate your emotional stage. How fast are you able to change your outlook towards any situation or emotion that you might be experiencing? How fast are you to realize that you're self-aware and you really need to do some remedy action and take control of your emotions and self-manage those emotions? The other part of emotional intelligence is social competence. So social competence is your relationship with others, which comprises of social awareness and relationship management. Social awareness is more about how you are in tune with other emotions. Are you empathetic? Do you give a listening ear, or are you a change catalyst? So that is being socially aware. The other part of it is relationship management. Relationship management is your ability to navigate through emotions in interactions with others. How competent you are in handling your relationship with others. Have there been occasions where you have probably the other person has said, you just don't understand me, or you might have probably felt the other person does not understand me? So that is your relationship management at stake. These are the signs of high emotional intelligence capabilities, which we just discussed on the previous slide, that is about self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, and social skills. So self-awareness is being accurate, your self-confidence level. Self-management is how much self-control do you have on your own self. It is being goal-oriented, achievement-oriented. Social awareness is more on the empathy side. Social skill is, do you have those visionary leadership skills? How good are you at developing others? How good you are as a communicator? Are you a change catalyst? How do you handle conflicts? Are you good at conflict management? So these are some of the components, the capabilities of highly emotional intelligent people. First, we will come to self-awareness. So self-awareness is how much you are aware of what your competencies are. So a powerful leader understands other people's emotions to a high degree where he or she can manage relationships better to avoid potential conflicts. So a leader who is very strong, who has a very high EI will always have loads and loads of patience, will be a good listener and a communicator. To give a very classic example is about a Forbes report that, according to this study, the highest performing managers, they scored the highest performing managers had scored highly when they compare it to the lower performing managers. And it gives me pride to say that women have always scored higher on emotional intelligence categories than men. So women have always stood a league ahead than men. They have always scored higher when it comes to self-awareness. They've always scored higher when it comes to empathy. They've scored higher when it comes to positive outlook towards life. And men have fallen short on many of these components. Men have stood strongly or equally more than women. Was the only place was self-control. Any questions, Ankita?
No, I don't see any questions in the chat as of now.
Okay. So the other part of self-awareness is how motivated you are. How are you living? How are you living your life? Are you living your life with motivation? Because motivation is the driving factor for each and every person. How self-motivated you are. People with high EI are always self-motivators. They are always optimistic in responding to the results, whether the results are good or bad. They always remain hopeful, and they overcome failure without any frustration. So these are some of the traits that you would always find with people with high EI. So live your life with high motivation. The other aspect is self-management. Self-management is more about self-regulation. It is the ability to control your actions, reactions, and how you handle those situations. So self-regulation is crucial from a point of view, because self-regulation, self-control will definitely be a driving factor in your personal life and in your professional life. If you have the ability to control your emotion and actions and live your values by holding yourself accountable whenever you are going wrong, whenever you feel you've messed up something, you hold yourself accountable. That is a very strong indicator of people with high EI. It plays a very important role in people's work life as well as personal life. Self-regulation helps in understanding people and knowing basically what to say, when to say, and how to say. That is a very important criteria. Coming to another aspect of social awareness is empathy. Empathy is basically understanding more about your relationships, being a listener, giving a hearing ear. It is the most crucial aspect of emotional intelligence, social awareness, and relationship building. Being honest with people and displaying your own emotions while understanding the other's point of view will help you in build long-term relationships. A very classic and a simple example will be like, you admit that you do not know an answer whenever you are in a situation wherein you do not know the answer. So admit that fact that you do not know an answer to something that is being asked or something that you're asked to do. Rather than speculating, gossiping, or guessing, just admitting that you are either wrong or that you do not know is a step in the right direction. This will definitely help you in building long-term relationship. Being honest will take you miles, especially into relationship. So relationships are built by being honest, by being empathetic, and teams will always work in a way where there is social ability, there is cooperation, there is purpose, and there is a moving desire. There is a desire for all those team members to move in the right direction. So teamwork would fall under social skills, that is your ability in managing relationships. And when you are able to manage relationships, you will have your team that will go in the right direction, in a focused direction. This is one interesting takeaway that I came across while I was exploring more about emotional intelligence and how it has a big impact on the performance at the professional workplace. When you see the first image, the impact on professional success is 60%. So 60% success rate in any job for those with high emotional intelligence. If you see the performance in the workplace, 90% of top performers have a high emotional intelligence ratio. IQ is important. It is definitely important. But then on a weighing scale, EI is always greater than IQ. And the most desired qualities that the employers will look for with people in high EI would be their ability to admit and learn from mistakes, the ability to keep emotions in check, listening as much or more than talking, taking criticism positively, showing grace under pressure. So these are some of the qualities that employers look forward with people in high EI. Here are some of the reasons that employers would value EI over IQ. And when you see the reasons, you will also agree with me that they are very simple and very easy to follow in our daily lives. So first and the foremost one is you usually remaining calm under pressure. So people with high EI remain calm under pressure. They resolve conflicts effectively. They would not leave things to happen on their own. They would not keep things lingering on. They would not keep issues lingering on. When they know there is a conflict, when they know there is a problem, they will immediately get into it and try to resolve it and get results out of it. The third one is being empathetic. Being empathetic is a very important value that employers look forward in their employees. Fourth one would be lead by example. A leader has to lead by example. If a leader is empathic, the message gets spread across in the team to be empathic. If a leader is patient, remains calm under pressure, that percolates down. So that's what high performing teams are made of. They remain calm under pressure. That is the reason high performing teams are able to deliver so well, because they have high performers with high EI. The fifth point is they put more consideration into business decisions. Any questions, Ankita?
I've got one question personally on my chat, but do you want me to ask now, or you can finish the session and then we can take the questions together?
Okay, so if it's not related to any of the slides as of now, we can take it later.
It is related to the slides, but I think we can take it later, not a problem.
Okay, no worry. So moving ahead, this is something that I wanted to share with everyone, and these are my learnings, my experiences of 5 ways how you can develop your emotional intelligence. So this is not a hard and fast rule that it has to be followed, and this is it, or this is the bottom line, because EI is a vast field, and there are many thoughts that keep floating. So these are some of my takeaways that I felt that I should be sharing with you. So EI is one of the strongest indicators of success at your workplace, and many of you would ask me again, why? We've spent so many slides talking about EI. So why EI? Because EI is not only the ability to identify and manage our own emotions, but it is also the ability to recognize the emotions of others. Every person, challenge, situation, or any event that you face is a prime learning opportunity to test your EI. It takes practice. I will definitely vouch for the fact that it takes practice. It is not easy to learn. It is not easy to develop. It takes a lot of practice, but you will actually start reaping the benefits immediately. I'm sorry. You will immediately see the results. With practice, you will be able to see the results. And having a high level of EI will serve you well in your relationships at the workplace, as well as all areas in your life. Would you not want that? I am sure everyone would want that. The common scenes that we see at the workplaces are those of frustration with managers, with co-workers, with colleagues, team members, and there are occasions when people would want to quit because they do not have a very healthy relationship with their managers. There are occasions when people would want to take a decision of changing projects, changing teams, because they do not get along with people. So here are very easy 5 ways to develop your EI. First and the foremost is manage your negative emotion. Simple example would be, if someone is upsetting you, don't jump to conclusions. Instead, allow yourself to look at the situation in a different way, in variety of ways. Just look through the problem in different ways. Look through the situation in a different way. Try to look at things objectively so that you don't get riled up easily. Important is practice mindfulness at work. And I have been doing it since years, and I can vouch for the fact that it is very helpful. It definitely helps. It will help you in understanding people better. It calms you down, and you are immediately able to understand the other person's points of view. It will help you and you will definitely realize that there is a change in your behavior. Your perspective has changed. So try to manage your negative emotions. Try to tone them down. The second of it is be mindful of your vocabulary. People will always remember what you said to them. They will never ever forget what you said to them. And then it would be years and years that they will carry back with them that what you said. So be mindful of your vocabulary. Focus on becoming a strong communicator. Everybody wants someone around who is a good communicator, who is able to share their thoughts, who are able to share their views, who are able to share when they are upset or happy. When you just had a meeting with your boss and then you suddenly realize that, it was a bad meeting, and this is something that I did not expect. What is the learning for you? What is the learning what is the takeaway for you? You should probably be focusing in that direction, that what made it so bad and what you can do it to fix it. Or instead of pinpointing what was the boss saying that was completely wrong, just go into facts, drill into facts, like what was the reason that this discussion got triggered, or what was the reason the meeting ended on a bad note. You will definitely have a very big likelihood of addressing the problem instead of just sitting on it. Talking, communicating the right thing at the right time to the right people is of utmost importance. This will definitely, being mindful of your vocabulary will definitely help you in becoming one with a very high EI. The other one is practice empathy. So centering on verbal and non-verbal cues can give you invaluable insights into the feelings of your colleagues or your clients or your customers or your team members. Practice focusing on others, and try to walk in their shoes, even if it's for a minute. It will give you a different perspective. Empathic statements do not excuse unacceptable behavior, but they help remind you that everyone has their issues. The grass is not always green on the other side. Everyone has their own set of issues. Everyone is struggling through something. Be empathetic. Be a giver. Be someone who is trying to understand what the other person is going through. That is more about empathy. Once you start practicing empathy, it will flow in naturally. You will find team members reaching out to you and sharing things with you and talking about things that they would have never ever done in the past. Once you start practicing empathy, you will definitely notice those changes. Fourth of it is know your stressors. Take stock of what your stressors are. Each one of us will, if they just sit down to list down, they will have a list of stressors ready with them. So know what your stressors are. Know when you get rubbed the wrong way. Know when you have to react in that fashion. Know when you should be putting a full stop where you should put. Simple, very, very simple idea is like when you know that you have a lot of emails coming in, so and you have this habit of picking up the phone and checking your emails before going to bed, which gives you stress, or there might be something that comes up for which you might probably think like and you just go in a thinking mode, and it is one of those stressors for you. So the simplest thing is like, do not check emails before going to bed. Rather, you check the emails in the morning. And a more easier option would be like, you check emails once you are in work, once you are at your workplace. So you check your emails at that time. So you identify what your stressors are, and this is something that is stressing me out. So you take control of it. This is what people with high EI do. The fifth on my list is bounce back from adversity. Everyone encounters challenge. Everyone encounters challenges, problems. It is how you react to these challenges that either will set you up for success or it will put you on the track to a meltdown point. It is up to you. Every one of us knows about positive thinking. There are many who would be practicing positive thinking. Positive thinking takes you very far. It helps you bounce back from adversity. It helps you practice optimism. If you are positive, you are more optimistic. You are self-motivated. So you start practicing optimism more instead of being in a complaining mode. You start thinking of what I can learn from this situation. What is this situation trying to teach me? You ask constructive questions to see what you can take away from the challenge at hand. To sum it up, a person with high EI takes feedback positively, starts working to fill the skill or the knowledge gap, is highly motivated with the highest patience level. So this is all about the 5 ways that I can say would be helpful in developing your EI. It doesn't matter who you are or where you come from. The ability to trump lies with you. It begins with you. To sum it up, I can say emotional intelligence is a way of recognizing, understanding, and choosing how we think, feel, and act. It defines how and what we learn. It allows us to set priorities. It determines the majority of our daily actions because it is feelings, it is emotions. It shapes leaders' interactions with subordinates. It helps them in understanding themselves better. It helps them in understanding others better. It is actually really your ability to feel feelings, to nurture relationships, and demonstrate strong character that will open the door of life right in front of you. Since relationships drive all businesses in life, it is very essential to develop EI. It all starts with you and your desire to excel, be it personal or professional. You are a blessing to the world. Think positive, be motivated, keep the spirits high. And I would like to end this session by playing a song, a small song for you all. I would just like you to give time and listen to the words. They will definitely resonate with each person. We are all strong men and women out here fighting their own battles. Just listen to this.
You are the heart, you are the hands, you are the voice of spirit on earth, and who you are and all you do is a blessing to the world.
You can always connect with me on LinkedIn. I am there on LinkedIn as Meenakshi Pande Kogje. Please feel free to send in your network request and get connected with me. So that was all from my side. Ankita, we can open it for question and answers.
Sure. Meenakshi, thank you so much for breaking it down in such simple steps for all of us to understand about the topic as complicated as emotional intelligence. So thank you so much for that. And guys, as Meenakshi mentioned, we are opening the session for the questions. In case you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat box. We'll be taking them now. So one question I had got earlier during the session was about this particular person is dealing with some kind of a depression, and she is going to the therapist to kind of get it treated or get it understood by her that what is wrong with her. But at the same time she feels that she is not getting the kind of support from her colleagues and her bosses and her leaders the way she should have. And she's also mentioning that I'm seeing a lot of people around me, because 2020 has been such a difficult year. A lot of people are going through some of the other phases of depression, and the corporates and organizations need to be a little more empathetic towards people who are dealing with depression and managing their day-to-day jobs as well. So in this situation, what would you kind of suggest to maybe the team leaders who may be having some kind of people working under them, and the person who is dealing with this kind of a thing? How do you kind of make it more open for the people to understand? Like, how would you deal with that situation?
Right. That's a very interesting question, Ankita. So
Yeah.
what I would just say is, like, open up, open up and speak. The more you are communicating, the more you are sharing your thoughts, more you are sharing your views, that will definitely help the other person to understand you better. That
Correct.
is that is about relationship building. That's how relationships are built. That's how conflicts are resolved. Unless and until you are not communicating, unless and until you are not sharing your views, your thoughts, the block will always be there. There will always be a block in between. So there has to be a free flow of thoughts between both people. Two people who are involved in this, there has to be a free communication of.
Correct.
So communication is the key.
Yeah. So it should be a free flow of communication from the person and
Yes.
from the team as well. Yeah, absolutely. So
Yes,
it should be.
yes. And then there are different ways that you can communicate. So you have a verbal communication, non-verbal communication. You can always find the ways and means of communicating with a person. Or
Absolutely.
and the best option is you walk up to the person and say that I need to talk to you.
Hmm.
Within the message to the other person also, that, like, this is something that is bothering this person.
Hmm.
This is something that it is of, it is stressing this person out. So I also need to, step out and give a hearing here.
Absolutely. Uh, Audience, in case you have any other questions, please feel free to put it in the chat box. I don't see any questions now. the topic is also such that you need to sink in to
Yes,
kind of think
yes,
and ponder around it to kind of come up with, in case you are finding something bothering.
true.
But in case you have any questions, guys, please feel free to put it in the chat box. We'll be taking it. So, during the time that people are asking questions, actually, let me ask you this: that you also come from HR marketing background, and you have kind of worked with industries. So, can you give us like an example or instance that happened in your professional life where you kind of felt that was the moment to kind of make you realize that okay, emotional intelligence is of that importance? Maybe something, some experience in case you have had, if you can explain it to me in your corporate professional environment.
Yes, yes, definitely, Ankita. Because an incident happened, and that is the reason it triggered me for going ahead for my NLP certification. So I have gone ahead and I've completed my basic certification. I've completed my advanced certification. So during my corporate career, I realized, like, communication is such a big problem between teams, between team members, between the management. And there are occasions when, like, the management is trying to communicate something, and change management takes some time, conflict management takes some time. So that was the time when it actually clicked to me, like I should be studying more about this subject, I should be understanding more. And I have always been fortunate enough to get very good mentors, to get very very supportive leaders and very supportive management around me in each organization that I have worked with. So
Right.
even in the past and even in my current organization, I have strong mentors who are there to stand up and say, like, this is the place where you are going wrong. I have strong leaders who tell us, like, this is the way that you should be going ahead. They are there with their advices. They are there with their leadership tips, which takes you a step further, which definitely
Absolutely.
helps you in uh, thinking deeply. So
Right.
there was this incident wherein I was in a discussion with my manager, and she mentioned about some performance issues and things like that that keep going on in teams across the organization. And there are situations where people are not comfortable opening up to their managers, and I felt like, this is because of fear. It could be
Mm.
probably because of their personality. It could be probably because of their beliefs or their value system, which is very so deeply ingrained that it takes time for them to realize that which direction they should be going. And
Right.
by the time a team member is ready for a performance discussion, the manager is already through with the discussion, and it is time that the discussion ends. So, and then we had some cases where employees probably came back and they felt like, that my manager does not give me a listening ear. So I wanted to say so many things, but our discussion ended so fast. There were so many things that I wanted to share. So these were some of the scenarios, coupled with some situations that I heard from my peers and colleagues spread across the industry. Like, these are the challenges. These are some of the challenges that each and every organization faces.
Correct.
And communication is such an important factor that is driving people to success, or it is derailing them down. So if
Right.
if you're not able to communicate at the right time, you're not able to share your insights at the right time, you're not able to share your views at the right time, everything gets spoiled. Everything
Right.
gets spoiled. So it is true
Absolutely.
for a manager, it is true for a worker, it is true for a
Absolutely.
subordinate, it is true for a colleague.
Correct.
It is a balancing act that everybody in the organization has to follow. And
Mm.
then I decided to take up go in for my certification for NLP. And I realized that emotional intelligence is of my liking. I really really like this topic.
Right. Right.
And
Right.
it is always good to see people around.
Hello. Can you hear me, Meenakshi? Guys, sorry for the inconvenience. I think she's just logging back. Meenakshi, are you back?
Yes, I was actually speaking, and I think probably you were not able to hear me.
Yeah. Okay, now we can hear you properly. Yeah.
Okay.
So, taking the same conversation ahead, Meenakshi, like you're saying that communication is such an important and critical part when it comes to emotional intelligence. But reality, may if you see, a lot of organizations, a lot of teams actually don't communicate the way they should. Either there are some pressures, or so what are the reasons? Because even we see in our day-to-day things that starting from timelines to big goals, everything, the free flow of communication kind of gets disturbed at every stage, and because of that, some maybe some miscommunication is happening or something like that. But what are the reasons because of which people are hesitant to kind of come up and speak up their mind, at least at workplace? According to your experience, what have you seen?
What I have commonly observed is people are actually by nature hesitant in opening up.
Yeah,
they
absolutely.
they are probably scared that they might probably say something wrong. They are probably skeptical that the other person might probably interpret them wrong. they
Right.
they are always bogged down by this fear of failure, this fear of non acceptance.
Hmm.
So that is the reason people take a step back and they are not really good communicators.
Correct. That makes sense. Okay, I don't see any questions, but guys, in case you have any questions and you feel you need to ask at the later stage, I'm sure Meenakshi will be more than happy to connect with you through LinkedIn. So she's already shared the details. So please feel free to get in touch with her, because this is the topic that, more conversation you have, more things you're going to get back to, your workplace or even in your personal life for that matter. So we have kind of reached at the end of the session. So I want to thank you, Meenakshi. Thank you so much for taking time and presenting a topic, as I mentioned, which sounds very complicated, but you kind of fleshed it out in a way that was understood to everybody. And this is a topic that, no matter what stage of the career that people are in, all of them will be able to relate. So thank you so much for doing that, and thank you so much, audience, for being here. I hope you enjoyed the session. As I mentioned in the beginning, we are coming up with some more interesting sessions. So, in case you want to know more about them, please go to our social media pages and start following us. Okay, Meenakshi, any last words before we close in for today?
I would just sum it up that emotional intelligence is being intelligent about your emotions. You just need to understand when you need to say, what you need to say, and how you need to say. Those are those qualities that each and every employer would look forward to having in an employee. these
Right.
these are basically the qualities that every team member would like to have in their team member. Every team member would like to have it in their senior or supervisor. You
Right.
would definitely like to have someone in family that you can walk up to, who's
Right.
so emotionally intelligent. So yes, IQ is important, but EQ is also important.
Also important. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Meenakshi, again, and thank you, audience. And have a good evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so
Thank you
much,
so much.
everyone.
Thank you.